Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of The Suited Shootist. And this week is going to be kind of a little bit of a shift from last week's video. And so what I'm talking about is the fact that, especially when it comes to dress clothes, you're probably paying more than you have to. And that's one of the things that I think, regardless of where you fall on the spectrum of putting however degree of importance on how you dress, or how you choose to dress on a daily basis, it's something that I see quite a bit because a lot of the menswear stores that I've dealt with are banking on the fact that most dudes don't care and or don't know any better, and they are just taking you for a ride. So kind of almost bringing in the old trope of, instead of buying the $5,000 rifle, you need the $1,000 rifle and $4,000 of training, or whatever value dollar figures you want to apply to it. This is kind of what I'm getting at with that, is you don't have to be wearing Gucci shoes, Armani suits, Rolex watches, and all that jazz to be well dressed. Fact of the matter is, most of the people that think that's well dressed look at a place wearing this stuff, but that's besides the point. What I'm getting at is whether you want to wear high-end Italian designer stuff, or whether your preferred brands are Dickie and Carhartt, either way, you don't have to be spending the kind of money on it that you are. And then, obviously, that opens up, number one, the ability to expand your wardrobe a little bit, as well as gives you a little bit more money for training and ammunition, which is always a plus. So what I'm getting at is, for a lot of folks, and honestly, especially if you don't find yourself dressing up on a regular basis, secondhand and consignment shops are your friend. Even if the peak of men's fashion that you're aware of is Joseph A. Bank, which I'm personally not a fan of, but I'm not going to dog on them in this video. Even during one of their fantastic sales, where they're practically giving everything away, you're still probably paying about $100 for a suit, maybe $50 for a sports jacket, that kind of thing. You can go to a decently stocked Goodwill and find Joseph A. Bank suits for $50. You can find their sport coats for $20 to $30, etc. What I'm wearing right now is a silk Oscar de la Renta sports coat that I picked up for, I think, $15. So if you all you got to do is know your measurements and have a slight working knowledge of men's clothing, and be willing to spend a little bit of time, and you will be able to easily spend half to a third of what you would just walking into a retail store and handing over your credit card. So if you want to pay for the convenience, by all means, that certainly has its own value. But man, I tell you, it's one of those things that, I think a lot of this is just taking advantage of people's ignorance. Another great example is a website that I'm rather fond of that my wife introduced me to, Poshmark. I've gotten Brooks Brothers suits there for $25 a piece that required zero alteration. Now, these were not their top-of-the-line suits, but before I filmed this, I went on the Brooks Brothers website. The specific make and model is no longer part of their lineup, but the cheapest full complete suit that they had on their website was $500, and even with an additional 20% discount, you're still looking at $400 effectively, before you pay shipping and all that, and then you're paying for alterations on top of that. So $400 for a suit versus $25 for a suit. So we're talking basically 1/16 the price. Even if I'm paying $100 for tailoring, I'm still way ahead. So it's one of those things where, even if you have no interest in making menswear a hobby or a pastime of yours, it is absolutely in your best interest to have at least a slight working knowledge of it, because it's one of those that it's almost like if you were to walk into a pawn shop and see a genuine Rolex sitting there for $500. I don't know anybody that wouldn't jump on that, because it's just so grossly underpriced compared to what the rest of the market is paying. I'm going to use what I was wearing in last week's video as the example. That Canali suit that I was wearing retails for about $1,600. Those Church's hole cuts, easily $500 a pair. So just to make the math easy, we're talking probably $2,000-ish for that, if you want to be technical, $2,100. And I picked that up in a consignment shop in Manhattan, walked out, including tax, for less than $300. So, we are talking, about 15% of retail? And it's just one of those things where, like I said, even if you live in jeans and a t-shirt, you are going to have at least a couple instances every year or so that are going to require you to dress up. And would you rather begrudgingly spend a couple $100 on that you're not going to get a lot of mileage out of? Or would you rather spend, $50, $80 and have something that is genuinely as good of quality, but have that cash freed up for more guns, more ammo, or, take your wife out for a nice dinner, provided that we're still allowed to do that whenever this video airs. So, like I said, it's just one of those things that I'm trying to build a little bit of value in this and impress the importance of understanding the basic mechanics of it, because it can make your life easier. It's just like basic home repair, basic auto maintenance. You don't necessarily need to be able to strip the thing down to its complete nuts and bolts, but just a basic working knowledge is certainly not a bad thing. And if you've got questions on that, feel free to leave them in the comments below. That's why I'm here, is to kind of help people navigate this, especially when they're trying to balance carrying defensive gear along with this, because sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge. So, like I said, whatever questions you got, throw them down in the comments. We also have the Bespoke Solutions Facebook group, where folks will kind of, post these case studies as well. Let me know what you think, and I hope everybody stays safe. Have a great week, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.